No. No, no, no. No, you're not supposed to be here. It's too early. No, I'm still writing it. I mean, I've heard about having an imaginary friend, but this is ridiculous. Okay. Okay, I guess we'll do it. It's fine. I'm not mad at you. It's fine. You're good. It's just, I just want you to know that I was planning to do it wearing pants. Okay. So, I guess, welcome everyone to my room. This is Strange Animals. It's a collection of vignettes that take the overlooked seriously. The vignettes are in the form of songs that I will sing here with my guitar, or poems and stories that I will read for you. So, Strange Animals is designed to be more of an experience rather than a set list. And to help me explain what I mean by that, I will start with my first vignette, that you should think of it as an instead of introduction. So here's how to salvage a bad day. Now, before we begin, let's be absolutely clear. This is not self-help. This is philosophy. Not capital P Plato and his K philosophy, but the kind you arrive at with slightly too much time alone and the creeping suspicion you may be your own worst enemy. And this little ramble is for you, dear librarians, brave custodians of civilization who dare to shelve Marcus Aurelius next to 10 habits of highly successful CEOs. Now then, I've recently discovered, to my astonishment, that I am indeed capable of having a good day. Not the accidental kind, like slipping on a banana peel and landing onto euphoria, but a meticulously crafted one, assembled deliberately like a Swiss watchmaker piecing together bliss from tiny, intricate parts. A run, some work that matters, a moderate amount of food, no TikTok. Voila, a good day. It sounds insultingly simple, doesn't it? But there it is. Here's the problem. Despite knowing precisely what constitutes a good day, I very often choose not to do those things. Isn't that rather unfortunate? The fact that I can conjure up joy and yet don't. One might assume that once you possess the recipe for happiness, you bake it daily. Not so. Apparently, I'm a man who prefers to sniff the ingredients and weep. My resting state, it turns out, is not happiness. It is some blend of ennui, melancholy, and a faint craving for biscuits. And so, if I don't construct a good day, if I don't set out with the blueprints and the metaphorical hard hat, I have a bad one. Just like that. As if I were born to squander Tuesdays. I used to welcome the bad days. In a way, they gave me material. A bad day could be worn like a velvet robe of artistic misery. I wrapped myself in it, convinced it made me more me. I've changed. Not completely, but something has shifted tectonically within me. I have, dare I say, begun to double in meaning. And now, with the scent of purpose drifting in, I find the bad days unbearable. Of course, like most doublers, I've become insufferable myself. I can no longer tolerate small talk. I don't care what Nick thinks of his mortgage. I want to talk about freedom, about death, about the futility of productivity apps. Also, I quit drinking, which, like switching to a standing desk, doing intermittent fasting, and trading crypto, is a decision you can't seem to make quietly. No, you have to announce it repeatedly. I've become that guy. Of course, we all instinctively roll our eyes at people who make changes, especially the healthy kind. You mentioned running a marathon and people react like you've just declared you're moving to a yurt to live off grid and journal about moss. And yet running a marathon is remarkable. A feat of will. You should get a standing ovation. But instead people smile like you've joined a cult and say something like, whoa, I could never do that. And then quietly hope that you pull a hamstring or something. And here's where I arrive at the actual point. Advice is rubbish. Well, perhaps not rubbish, but advice alone is rarely transformative. If it were, we'd all be living our best lives courtesy of that one very smack TED Talk. No, understanding an idea is not the same as living it. It's like reading a recipe for soufflé and assuming you're now French. Integration, true, sweaty, tearful, heart-rending change, requires experience. It requires the dramatic and the banal. Breakups, breakdowns, falling madly in love, being ghosted by someone with a nose ring and too many opinions about astrology. You see, life is the only true medium for philosophy. You don't become wise by reading, you become wise by living, and occasionally having something worth reading resonate because you finally earned the right to understand it. So if you've undergone some epiphany and wish to help others, not lecture, help, you must craft experiences, not merely deliver slogans. Ironically, I will leave you with one. Advice, dear friends, is like a cat, elegant, enigmatic, and utterly uninterested in your desire to control it. Thank you. So if this show aims to do exactly that, create an experience rather than lecture, I would like to begin with a palate cleanser. Something to get us out of our heads, something to leave the day behind. This is the fountain. The word fountain has been my favorite for a while now. Not just my favorite, my go-to. Anytime someone asks for a random word, I don't even have to think. Fountain! I cry with the speed of a caffeinated auctioneer. How often does someone ask you for a random word, though? Quite often, actually. I do improv, and that's where it all started. I needed a go-to word, something random enough, neutral enough, funny enough. Fountain was perfect. It still is. Everyone likes fountains. Or at the very least, no one hates them. They're harmless, pleasant, the Switzerland of words, universally agreeable and perpetually benign. Fountains are also better than we give them credit for. Sure, we know what they are. We've seen them, sat by them, played around them. But have we really thought about fountains? Probably not. They're one of those things we use, talk about, and walk past in autopilot mode. That's not true for everything. Maybe you never thought deeply about food when you were young, but at some point, you gave it a second thought, a moment of contemplation. Same with other things, like technology, free time, poker, light, Christmas trees, shadows, allergies, trampolines, disco balls, the concept of sneezing, tacos, phones, Liechtenstein. At some point, you re-examine those things with fresh eyes, a sense of wonder, but not fountains. Fountains are amazing. And it really makes you wonder, why the hell do we think so little about them? They're oases in the concrete desert, shooting water out in elegant arcs, often from the mouths of stone animals, or bizarrely, the penises of little boys. This, by the way, is perhaps the only context in which such imagery is not just tolerated, but celebrated. Such is the strange alchemy of fountains. But I digress. My point is this. I adore the word fountain. My brain is wired for it. If one were to map my neural pathways, they'd find fountains scattered like confetti, 1,000 tiny seeds of linguistic obsession. It's the word I shout when I'm home alone, stretching out a yawn. The word I think about to distract myself during sex, so I don't finish too quickly. Or ironically, the word I think about when I want to finish quickly. It's what pops into my head when I sneeze too hard, or when I'm overcome with secondhand embarrassment and need to release that cringing energy, like a reflexive tick. We call it the fountain of life for a reason. Fountains are alive. They're not things, but rather actions. A mountain you found. A fountain. I like that. And we've elevated fountains beyond practicality. Chocolate fountains, cheese fountains, fountains of champagne. They are symbols of indulgence, of celebration, of the sheer absurdity of human creativity. So yes, fountain is not just a word to me, it is their word. It is my talisman, my verbal comfort blanket. But here's the thing about words. They're slippery little devils, aren't they? Say a word enough times and it begins to lose its meaning. You know what I'm talking about? When you repeat a word, fountain, 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 until it's no longer a thing, but a sound, a shape your mouth makes. It's like when you had a bit too much to smoke and suddenly you're staring at your hand wondering if it's all being quite so hand-like. So let us indulge in this peculiar phenomenon. Let's say the word fountain until it ceases to mean anything at all. Let it wash over you, like water from a, Let it become a sound, a rhythm, a mantra, your daily meditation. Fountain, 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 fountain. I don't know why the word fountain is in my mind all the time, but it is. And it's not just random and weird words like fountain that come out of nowhere. If I really think about it, every thought I have comes out of nowhere. No? Where did that come from? What's my involvement in this? Really? What is your name?
Jane.
High five. This first song is from the perspective of Jane. Fives are proof that free will does not exist. If it does, why would I lift my hand up high like this? Which, by the way, I would only do to call a waiter, or if I'm drowning in the pool. Why would I lift my arm with joy and flair just to meet your clammy hand in air? Because you said with a stupid grin that penguins are called businesses in Mandarin. What? That's not a joke, John. That is a fact at best. Now you want a high five, just give it a rest. I don't want to touch your fucking hand. I don't want to pretend that joke was grand. I don't want to hear that awful smack, like slapping two raw chickens back to back. And yet, I do it. I don't know why. You raised your arm and so did I. You raised your arm, my body obeys, like we rehearsed it for days and days. No thought involved, no conscious command. Like a ventriloquist was leading my hand. And the name, high five. Are you fucking kidding me? Sounds like a toddler named it on Sesame Street. Hi, let me see, cause it's up, and five, cause fingers are five, yes. And being so lazy, I am shocked it survived. Why not just call it what it is? Or why not just call it what it is? Regret, emotion, sweaty commotion, and act so awkward, it kills all emotion. Regret, emotion, and sweaty commotion, and act so awkward, it kills all emotion. If my will is free, why do I feel like shit? Why did I eat 10 eclairs when my pants barely fit? If my will is free, why did I click that sketchy link? Now I owe 10 grand to a Nigerian prince, I think. If my will is free, why do I say you do when they say happy birthday to you? If my will is free, why do I go for a kiss when they go for a hag and I end up kissing my wrist? Why do I do stupid things, then deeply regret it? If my life is actually up to me, I'd really want to fucking change it. All jokes aside, there's no free will. You're a puppet, I'm a puppet, the world is a script. And we're all stuck in this improv class run by guilt. So what do we do with this piece of information, Vasilis? Nothing. Relax. The seed's been planted. You're welcome. Fact. If my will is free, then why am I always quitting on salads and eating 6 donuts in one sitting. Why did I text my ex? You are like a fool, breaking my own, no contact rule. Why did I wave to a guy who wasn't waving back at me? Now I have to fake a hurt check. Trying to act all casually. If my will is free, then why am I always quitting on salads and eating 6 donuts in one sitting? Why did I text my ex? You are like a fool, breaking my own, no contact rule. Why did I wave to a guy who wasn't waving back at me? Now I have to fake a hurt check. Trying to act so casually. If my will is free, why do I feel like shit? If my will is free, why did I say that cringy thing? If my will is free, why did I do that stupid thing? If my will is free, why do I feel like shit? Heavy stuff, no? Yes. Okay, so what is there if there is no free will? Should we keep trying? Is anything sacred anymore? Do these questions even make sense? And if they do make sense, are there answers to these questions? I think there are answers to these questions, but it's not a matter of acquiring new information. I think it's a matter of changing the perspective. This is how I meditate. I woke up one day and dropped everything. I dropped my job, my friends, my family. I dropped my name, my memories. I dropped myself. I put them all in a big plastic bag and left it by the door so I would remember to take it with me when I left the house. I wanted breakfast first. I went to the fridge. I had nothing. I had dropped all the food in the plastic bag. Also, I didn't know how to cook anymore. I had dropped that too, so it didn't matter. Either way, I was probably not hungry. I thought I was. What I knew was that I didn't want to leave the house, not yet. There was unfinished business in this house. I could sense it. First, I had to finish this unfinished business, and then I would go out and throw away all the things I had dropped. I went to the balcony. My plants were not there. But the view was there. It wasn't mine to drop. I took a moment and stayed with the view. My gaze was wide. I took it all in as if it were the last view I would ever see. Well, it could be. Why not take it in? This could be the last time I see those orange-red roofs. The last time I see those antennas and power lines. I might as well take it all in. I might as well feast on it. I might as well stay with it, breathe with it. I might as well take it all in. I might as well pay enough attention to this moment, this one perfect moment. I might as well take it all in, breathe with it. This moment, it could be the last time. I might as well enjoy it. This is life. This is palpable, tangible life. I might as well take it all in. This bright condition, stay with it. Okay, that's probably enough. I did justice to the moment, savored. I took a deep breath to take note of the savoring and went inside. I thought I'd make some coffee, but I had dropped that too, together with the appetite for coffee, for all that matters. It was in the bag. I didn't have furniture either. I had walls though. My house has a weird shape, so I don't have just 4 walls. I have dozens little walls of varying widths and orientations. I went to the widest one and shoved my face against the cold wall. My nose touched the wall, my chest touched the wall, my toes touched the wall. My eyes were open, staring at the white wall. From this close, it looked black, or at least dark, because of my face's shadow. My warm breath hit the wall and returned to my face, making it warm and moist. I didn't like this feeling. But what is liking, really? It's just breath and face and nose and a wall. There's nothing to like or dislike. This could be the last time I touch a cold wall, the last time I smell my warm, moist breath. I'd better savor it. I should stay with the uncomfortable feeling. There is nothing to be afraid of. It's just warm breath. It's just warm, moist breath on my face. There's nothing to be afraid of. Stay with it. Breathe with it. Breathe the warm, moist breath of yours. Feel the negative sensation. Go to its core. Is it really negative? Is it really unpleasant to have your warm, moist, foul-smelling breath returning immediately to your face? I don't think so. I think nothing is good or bad. Not even this moist, hot breath of yours. I took a step back once I thought the moment was savored. I took a deep breath to take note of the savoring. Another one for the books. Thank you. So it's one thing to glimpse or wake up for a moment to the true nature of your mind. Maybe after meditating once or twice or 1,000 times. But it's another thing entirely to actually integrate mindfulness into your everyday life. If you don't believe me, you can ask any of my ex-girlfriends how effective my morning meditation practice really was. So the truth is that there is no winning the wanting game, because nothing is ever enough. There is no satisfying way to hold on to things, to places, to people, to the past, to the present, to the future. When I think about it, there's really no unsatisfying way of doing this either. This is sunsets, dogs, and balls. There are things I can never get enough of. Most notably, sunsets, dogs, and balls. When I say I can never get enough, I don't necessarily mean I love them more than anything. I love other things more. My mom, my friends, my brother. There are foods I love more, like lamb chops. But when I say I can never get enough of sunsets, dogs, and balls, I mean I'm always left unsatisfied. Like a massage that keeps politely avoiding that one knot that's actually killing you. For example, I know I like sunsets, but to save my life, I have never enjoyed one the way I intended to before I started appreciating it. Also the verb, appreciating. Appreciating a sunset. For fuck's sake, how the hell is this an active verb? Something has been appreciated, that I get. It already happened. It's true. But how the hell am I supposed to actively appreciate something? As I said, I like sunsets. I love them even. But damn, I end up so frustrated when I see them. The better the sunset, the worse my anxiety. I never know. Was it savored? Did I enjoy it to the extent it deserved? Look at the incredible colors. Look at the clouds layering shades like a Renaissance painter on a God complex. Fuck, that's beautiful. Let me enjoy it. I don't know who's supposed to let me, but he's not letting me. I like dogs. No, I love dogs. But I can never pet them enough. I'm left unsatisfied every time. This is an even stranger level of unsatisfactoriness because I do enjoy it. I feel better after I pet a dog. I feel happy when I do it. But despite my happiness, it's not enough. I want to squeeze the dog with my hands. Make it a tiny, tiny sphere of cuteness and put it in my shirt pocket. And take it every now and then and rub it on me for a bit more cuteness. And when that's not enough, I eat the dog sphere. I don't know why my tantrum of unsatisfactoriness always ends in eating it. I guess because that's a definite end. It puts a stop to my lasting. Of course, I can't eat dogs. Now, it's not that I can't. I don't want to eat dogs. I'm not a lunatic. But I can eat balls. I love all kinds of balls. Footballs, basketballs, tennis balls. I go to Decathlon for running shoes or a hat and leave with 4 different balls. My favorite ones are the stress balls that are solid but have a bit of give. I squeeze them, throw them, catch them, roll them on the floor, roll them on my skin. I like to dig my nails in and squeeze hard to extract the totality of their boldness. But that's not enough. Then I tear them apart with my nails, bit by bit, and then I bite them. I don't eat them, I lied before, I'm not crazy. I bite them. I take a chunk off and spit it out. Then I take the chunks and break them down into smaller parts until I'm done. Until all the boldness is extracted. But I don't feel good after. I feel dirty. As if I did something wrong. I wish I didn't have to kill the ball. I wish it could stay whole and still give me everything it had to offer. But that's impossible. Distraction feels like the only way to actively appreciate. How else do we appreciate? That's the only way I see it. Appreciating means tearing apart. But appreciating rarely, if ever, leads to having appreciated. Which is the goal, ultimately, no? When I have successfully appreciated, I don't tear apart, I don't destroy. What do I do then? I see, for sure. I touch and hear, definitely. I smell and taste, but I don't want more. I simply sense. So next time I see a sunset, I won't appreciate it, because I already did. Next time I pet a dog, I won't appreciate it. I already did. And next time I squeeze a ball, I will make sure I won't appreciate it, because I already did. I realize now that it's not appreciating first, and then having appreciated. It's having appreciated, and if you like nothing else, thank you. So how can we enjoy life if wanting leads to unsatisfactoriness? What does enjoying life even mean? I think gratitude is the answer to this, being thankful for what is. But gratitude doesn't sound cool, does it? It sounds embarrassing even. Oh, look at that guy! He's grateful! Also, why the hell would I assume that things are already okay? This is suspicious C. Is anyone able to tell if it's real or not? The sea, that is. Is it a thing? Or just a collection of dots, pixels, if you will, of wetness and waves and salt, pretending to be something whole? I have my doubts about the sea. You see, I think it's fake. Someone somewhere must have said, let's have something enormous, something wild and endless, something that hums and crushes and pulls at the land like it's trying to get in. Let's make it shimmer, let's make it roar, let's make it beautiful enough that no one ever stops to question it. And then, just to be safe, Let's make it wet. I don't really think the sea is fake. I think the sea was never real. And by that, I don't mean it's an illusion. I mean, it's not even trying to be. Think about it. What are waves, really? Just water pacing, like the ocean's muttering to itself. Like it's got something to confess, but can't quite spit it out. They rise, they fall, they collapse under their own drama, they then try again, hoping we didn't notice. Also, why do waves make sounds? And why, this is important, are those sounds soothing? Isn't that suspicious? That's right, I said it. The sea is suspicious. We call it blue. Why? More often than not, it's black. We say we love the smell of the sea, but let's be honest, why? It smells like wet death, like salty socks, like your nostrils have been pickled in brine. The sea smells like the trunk of an elephant, I think. And yet we step into it, and suddenly our skin looks better. We feel healthier, we feel fresh. Why? That's suspicious. Why would the sea do that? It doesn't make sense. I'll tell you why. Because the sea is a distraction. And the sun? The sun isn't real either. What a joke! It makes you feel healthy, bright, warm. It burns you, I guess, gently. And somehow that's supposed to be good for you. It darkens your skin, which, get this, makes you more attractive. Tell me that's not suspicious. The sun doesn't have to do that, and yet it does. It's not just the sun and the sea. It's dogs, too. I think they're in on it. Dogs lick your face. Why? It doesn't make sense. Dogs feel sad when you feel sad, and they lick your face when you feel sad, and they like it when you're happy, and they're happy when they see you. Talk about suspicious. It didn't have to be like that. I like things that are clear, things that are clean, things that mean business, and you know what the business means. Like motorcycles, for example, and cars and mechanical things. These make sense. They act as products of engineering, no suspicious behavior. If the exhaust pipe gets too hot, it will burn your cows. No surprises. And yet here we are, surrounded by all these deceitful entities. Seas, suns, dogs, going about their business, as if they're not, in fact, the most elaborate ruse ever devised. Who benefits from all this? Who stands to gain from the great, wet, burning, tail-wagging charade? I don't know. But I intend to find out. I suspect trees might be in on it too. They stand there, pretending to be simple. Oh, look at me, says the tree. I just grow, my leaves change, and I make oxygen. Aren't I nice? No, tree, you're not nice. You're up to something, obviously. You never walk and get entire forests at once, creeping over landscapes with roots that crack pavements and branches that claw at windows? You never make a sound, and yet when the wind blows, you groan and creak like a kid exaggerating how badly they've hurt themselves. You drop your leaves in the autumn like you know how good you look bald. Suspicious. Very suspicious. I have half a mind to start a society. A league of the rightfully paranoid. The skeptics of the elements. The doubters of nature. We would meet in a windowless room. Far from the reach of the sun's gaze. Away from the whispering winds and the suspicious sighs. We would drink something trustworthy, like energy drinks. No herbal teas, no spring water. We would ask questions, demand answers, and refuse to be taken in by the waves, the wagging tails, the rustling leaves. And yet, despite all my misgivings, I cannot help but feel that when the sun warms my skin, when the sea wraps itself around my ankles, when a dog wags its entire body at the sight of me, I am, in some way, happy. Anyway, I'm starting the society next Tuesday. Green snacks, no fruit, no nuts, no organic anything. Just things in wrappers with expiration dates. If you've ever cried at the sunset, felt better after a swim, or trusted a golden retriever, come prepared to unlearn. We've got work to do, and trees to interrogate. Thank you. Okay, as you probably noticed, that was obviously a joke. I'm very fond of the sea, the sun, the dogs, and the trees. I guess it's kind of easy to be grateful for certain things, right? After you get past the initial aversion to the concept of gratitude. There are things, though, that there is no refraining them. There are things we just hate. When people hear what they want to hear. When my brother was about 10 years old, we thought he was going deaf. We would call his name, and he wouldn't even react. He would reply to every question with, "Huh?" It was ridiculous. But then we noticed that his hearing was quite remarkable when it came to questions like, "Do you want to go to the park? Or do you want ice cream?" It got so bad that my parents took him to the doctor and came back with a diagnosis. They sat us down and with a shaking voice explained to us that my brother suffers from a condition called selective hearing, which is when you hear only what is important to you. It has nothing to do with your hearing, instead it has to do with your brain. And I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? It's not a diagnosis, because there isn't you went to the fucking doctor in the first place. It's like the doctor told you about the symptoms you just described to him and added the word diagnosis in the end. Are we really gonna give this motherfucker a whole bus for being an asshole? To which my brother replied, huh? Things I hate. 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 I hate the super bright white lights in restaurants in Spain. Oh my god, I hate them. First of all, I go in and I'm blinded for like 5 minutes. Once my eyesight goes back to normal, I look around and realize how ugly all my friends are. And then I have to sit there and obsess about this for the entire time we're having dinner. My friend would talk to me and I would think, how can you be so ugly, man? How come I never noticed before how incredibly ugly you are? How are you going through life like this? How do you get a job? Well, strike that. How does your mom still love you? And then the food comes. And I'll start eating and I'll get this tiny food stain on my jeans. But thanks to the light, this thing looks like a fucking continent. And then the triggers keep on piling up until I snap into something stupid. For example, the other day, I killed someone. My friend looks pretty again. And the murder just happened in my mind. Things I hate. Things I hate. Things I hate. Drawn to stay in the dark, it's safer that way. This face should never see the light of day. Things I hate. Things I hate. Things I hate. I hate the people that romanticize their job. You know, when they think they're playing a movie or something and feel that they have to do their job in a quintessential way, you know, the stereotypical, exaggerated version of whatever the job looks like. You know, like a photographer doing a deep squat only to take a blurry photo of your left ear. Or a yoga instructor whispering, "Find your inner self," when all you're trying to do is not far from downward dog. Or a hairdresser spinning yourself dramatically so you face the mirror like you're playing a makeover reel or something. You get the drift. So I have this colleague who I love, but man, he romanticizes his job so much. He's a researcher at the university, a mathematician. One time, he comes to my office to talk about this project. And of course, he's barefoot. Because it grounds him and he can think better. There is a chair right next to me, but he decides to sit on the floor because it grounds him and he can think better. And he would suddenly stand up, start pacing the room anxiously, thinking intensely with his hands behind his back. And then the brilliant idea would pop into his mind. And he would start looking for a marker like a maniac, as if the idea would vanish in a split second. He would grab the marker and start writing equations on my fucking window like Russell from in the movie A Beautiful Mind. And I would be, "What the hell are you doing, man?" To which he would reply, "It drowns me." Look at your thing, Things I hate. Things I hate. Things I hate. I don't wanna see your hairy feet. This is a workplace, not a yoga retreat. Stop using my window to compute the hypotenuse. Just sit on the chair, dude, and wear some shoes. You know it, sing along. Things I hate. Things I hate. Things I hate. One more time. Things I hate. Things I hate. Things I hate. Thank you. Again, with things you hate, it's also fine because you can learn to let go, right? If it's something that you really hate, then you have this as an alarm. So when that happens, when that sounds, you know you must do something. You must let go. You must let them have it, whatever. If only things were things we loved so we can be grateful about them, or things we hated so we know we have to let go. But that's not the case usually, is it? Things are both things, right? And we don't know if we should be grateful about them or if we should let them go. I'm really excited about this song because Because it's a very relatable song, you know? And I think you're gonna love it exactly because it's so relatable. And I really hope you will be singing along by the end of it. So this song is called Is My Grandpa a Total Asshole? So the first thing you need to know about my grandpa is that he's a Jehovah's Witness. Do we have any Jehovah's Witnesses in the house? Well, that would have been awkward. So Jehovah's Witnesses are a real fun religion. Real fun. They believe that the destruction of the present world system at Armageddon is imminent. And that the establishment of God's kingdom over earth is the only solution to all of humanity's problems. See? Fun. Jehovah's Witnesses are known for the door-to-door preaching, distributing literature such as the Watchtower and Awake, and for refusing military service and blood transfusions. Fun, fun, fun. That passage, by the way, is straight from Wikipedia. Anyway, so my grandpa had a daughter before my mom was born. She had thalassemia and died at the age of 4. Thalassemia is this inherited blood disorder that results in abnormal hemoglobin and requires constant blood transfusions. Yep, you remember correctly. Let's hear the Wikipedia passage again. Jehovah's Witnesses are known for the door-to-door preaching. That's fine, I guess. Distributing literature such as the Watchtower and Awake. Who cares? And for refusing military service and blood transfusions. Shit. Which begs the question. Did my grandpa become a Jehovah's Witness to kill his daughter and sleep better at night? Or was my grandpa already a Jehovah's Witness and just happened to have a kid with thalassemia and went against his religion for a couple of years? Here's my grandpa, a total asshole, or is he a hero in disguise? My grandpa being a Jehovah's Witness has been a constant source of entertainment for me and my family. From the moment I turned 23, I was ready for marriage according to my grandpa. He would come now and then and pitch me potential wives that were either fellow Jehovah's Witnesses or their daughters. Mind you, no pretext, no easing into it. No, he would just shoot straight. He would show me a low-resolution printed photo on A4 paper of a random lady and ask me if I wanted to marry her. Just imagine all the old men at the Jehovah's Witness meetings handing out printed photos of their unmarried daughters. Anyway, at the end, he would always add, "She has a ton of money, Vasilis." Which begs the question. Did my grandpa wanted me to get married to a random lady from his church? Or did my grandpa wanted me to have the good life by marrying rich and never having to work? So, is my grandpa a total asshole, or is he a hero in disguise? My grandpa has prostate problems and has to urinate frequently. For this reason, he has his bedpan with him at all times. You know what a bedpan is? Bedpan is this container for urination. He would walk with this in his garden, and he sometimes would forget one on one of the tree branches, and he would go and get one of the spare ones that he had. So one time I was walking with my girlfriend at the time through the garden, and we see a tree with 2 bedpans on its branches. My girlfriend looks at it, squints and asks me, "What is that?" And with a straight face I say, "That's a bedpan tree." That was a bedpan joke for you. Thank you very much. My grandma is obsessed with infomercials. Over the years, he has accumulated all sorts of useless products, from this slim and fit t-shirt that vibrates and makes you lose weight, or this thing that sucks the wax out of your ear. His latest purchase was this cream for dry skin. He was so impressed, he started applying it to any part of his body, and for any ailment you could imagine. Itchy skin, that cream. Dry skin, that cream. Pimples, that cream. Headache, that cream. Hemorrhoids, that cream. I guess there was nowhere else to go but him. Anyway, he cured his hemorrhoids. He told my mom a bunch of times, even though she begged him not to inform her of the status of his hemorrhoids. He then proceeds to call the infomercial people and tell them, this cream that you have is fantastic and it works for so many things. It cured my hemorrhoids. You should say that in your infomercial. So let's unpack what happened here. This old guy called the company of an infomercial project and told them they don't make ridiculous enough claims for the capabilities of their product. And then proceeds to tell them, you should relaunch it with a rectal applicator for easier application on my butthole. Just imagine the faces on the other end of the line, which begs the question. Is my grandpa completely disgusting and makes everyone feel super uncomfortable? Or is my grandpa a marketing genius that rebranded a cream for an untapped market? So, sing along. Is my grandpa a total asshole? Or is he a hero in disguise? You know it. Is my grandpa a total asshole? Or is he a hero in disguise? Thanks. You know, this is strange. This, what we're doing now. You know? It's really strange for me. Because I didn't know how to fill the gaps between the vignettes. Because I didn't want to appear that there is a writer to this thesis, right? Because it doesn't feel that way. Writing feels more like positioning yourself in a situation where writing is probable and then wait it out. And then a completely different person writes them, and then a completely different person, reads them in his bedroom with a bunch of strangers watching. This is muchness. And it's the last one for tonight. And it begins in a way. Let it roll like the tide when you hide behind the words. But when you ride the tide, you have to stay on top. Otherwise you slide, and then it feels like you're trying too hard, like you just want to stop. But when you ride it right, it's comfortable, even if it doesn't last. Sometimes you look ahead and slip, sometimes you look back and slip. But when you're exactly on the bell curve, it feels right. You can breathe. You can keep going. Not quite a flow state, but something close to it. Something sustainable. At least for a while. Is there love there? Is there happiness there? Is there meaning there? I don't know. I don't think so. But the longer you stay with it, the more it opens, like a door to the universe. You see the screen, you see your fingers, you see yourself, and you try to sustain it. But the writing doesn't depend on it. The writing doesn't depend on you. It happens anyway. Whether you suffer through it or write it gently, it doesn't matter. The writing moves. And before you know it, it's already something. And in the end, it says this: I'm getting old. My hands are starting to look like those of an older person. My face is changing. Not because I'm tired, I slept well. Not because I drank, I didn't. My face changes. Period. I'm getting older. I hope not too old. There's still so much in me and I love to explore. I just wish I wasn't so afraid. And sometimes I'm not. But the sheer potential of self, the sheer potential of existence, it's too much. Too beautiful. It forces me to rage at my own pathologies. I need to make peace with that, of course. Meditate, of course. Equanimity, I know. But it's so damn hard to love existence the way it deserves, to stand in awe of it, as one should, and at the same time know how little you can do with it. Perhaps the only truly grand gesture is to be broken by it, to be crushed by its beauty, to be erased by its sheer muchness, to be drowned in it, not as punishment, but as proof. Proof that you were porous enough to feel it. That for a moment, the world got in. Because if nothing else, the volume of it all is enough in its own right. This was Strange Animals. Thank you.